Sometimes in life, the best things to happen to you in the long run are the worst things to happen to you in the short run. And that's exactly how my business career started. When I was 15 years old, I was obsessed with basketball. I would literally wake up every single morning, go to the gym, work out for an hour, go to my class all day, have a 2-hour basketball practice, an hour off, another 2-hour basketball practice, another couple hours off, and then usually go home and work on my jump shot or whatever it was on my own. I mean, I was just absolutely obsessed. My whole identity was around being this great basketball player, being an NBA, future NBA player. And all that came crashing down on March 15, 2014, when I shattered my ankle. I broke it in 7 places and dislocated it. The bone came out of the skin. It was a compound fracture. It was just brutal. And I literally could not walk for like 6 months, basically. Because not only did I have a really bad ankle injury, but I also had a really bad knee injury at the time. And long story short, my whole identity being a basketball player was now completely gone because I literally could not play basketball. Which caused me to go into this deep depression of like being, what is the point of life? This is all I knew, and now this was gone. And at that time, my mom, she would come and keep me company. And one day she came into my room and we were talking, and she told me her dream was to own a home. And at that time, I was like, well, Mom, why don't we just save up and buy a house? And she was like, oh, it's never going to happen, da-da-da-da. And something clicked in my head that day. I was like, if I got into real estate, I could, on one hand, maybe make some money and help her buy her own home one day. Or, on the bare minimum, I could, connect her with some people that can maybe get her a deal or get her a loan or something, like help her out in some way. And so I made it my life's mission at that point to learn everything I could about real estate. So I started watching real estate YouTube videos, reading a bunch of real estate books. When I got healthy and, half a year to 9-10 months later, could walk around again and got my driver's license when I was 16. I would drive to these real estate events. And I'll never forget the first real estate event I ever went to. It was in Irvine, California. I show up to the hotel, and it's literally, first of all, I'm very nervous. Okay, I'm like the 16-year-old kid, really skinny, bunch of acne. Like, it was just not a good look. Okay, and I show up there, and it's a bunch of 45-year-old men. Okay, and they're like in business suits, and they're like bald with like very shiny heads, and it was very intimidating. Okay. And I'm sitting around and I'm hiding in the corner. I'm like sitting in the far back, like on my phone, like I didn't want to be seen. And I sat there for an hour without talking to anybody before the speaker. I got there super early. And the speaker that day was a gentleman by the name of Jack Fullerton. Now, I had no idea who Jack Fullerton was. I didn't know what he looked like. They didn't have a picture of him. But he was some, pretty successful real estate investor guy. And about maybe 10 minutes before the event actually started, the guy hosting the meeting, this guy named Joe, he went up in the front of the room and he said, listen guys, Jack will be here and he's coming on stage here in about 10 minutes. If you need to use the restroom, go do that now. If you need to get some water, go do that now. But be ready to go in 10 minutes, be sitting in your seat. And I remember, again, I was just so scared to move. It was like I was paralyzed by fear. But I decided, I was like, you know what, I need to get over this. I need to go talk to at least one person. I'm going to challenge myself to talk to one person. And I said, let me go use the restroom, and then while I'm washing my hands, I'll try to talk to someone if they come up to me, or maybe while I'm leaving or something, right? So I go to the restroom, wash my hands, and sure enough, this old man comes up to me, and this event was taking place at a hotel. And this guy's wearing like cargo shorts and like Crocs, right? And I'm like, okay, it's probably a hotel guest, but I'm like, let me just talk to him, at least I can get in the flow state of talking, right? So I'm like, oh, hey man, like, how are you doing? I forgot what I said. How's your day today? Oh, it's good, da-da-da. And I said, oh, yeah, I said, have you seen this real estate conference? He's like, yeah, I'm here for the real estate event. I said, oh, cool, man. He asked me, are you here for that too? I said, yeah, absolutely. And he's like, oh, cool, like, what do you do? And I said, dude, honestly, man, I'm in high school. Like, I don't do anything. I study and play basketball. That's all I really do. And he was like, oh, that's really cool, man. Wow, what brings you out here? I'm like, well, I want to help my mom get a house. I want to, build my financial future, da-da-da-da-da, all these different things. So long story short, he's like, well, dude, I wish you the best of luck. He's like, listen, come talk to me after the event. I want to get to know you. Come talk to me. I said, sure. I said, well, what's your name? And I'll come find you. He said, oh, I'm Jack. I said, Jack? He said, Jack Fullerton. And he was the speaker, right? So I meet the speaker in the bathroom, right? He goes up and just crushes it. Like, just speaks in Crocs and cargo shorts, by the way. It was the most intense speech I've ever seen in my entire life. Just kills it. And then, of course, I went up to him after him, and he went around and introduced me to all the people there and invited me to this higher level training that I didn't have any money for. It was like $500, and I had like $20 to my name. And he was like, look, why don't you just write an IOU? So there's like literally a picture of me online, and we'll post it somewhere here, of me signing an IOU. Like I just pulled out a piece of notebook paper, wrote IOU $500 to Jack Fullerton, and I gave it to him because he said that I was allowed to do that as long as I paid him back. And I ended up paying him back like a year later or something like that. So long story short, that was the first real estate event I went to, and then fast forward, I kept going to real estate events, and I started creating this red spiral notebook. It was 70 pages long of every single real estate investing strategy I could learn on the internet, at these events, all of that. And fast forward, by the time I'm 19, now 3 years later, I've been doing wholesaling. I got my real estate license at 18. And at 19 now, I feel like I'm on top of the world. I know everything about real estate there is to know, the most basic real estate investing strategies, the most complicated stuff. I know everything. I'm a man amongst boys when it comes to real estate investing. And I go to this event that was hosted by my current business partner and good friend of mine, David Church, and who was a mentor of mine at that point. And he was hosting the meeting, but he had a guest speaker that day, and I forget the guy's name, but he goes to the front of the room. And by the way, this meeting, there was literally 15 people, at the most 20 people in this entire room. It was this tiny little meeting. And he goes to the front of the room and starts talking about this concept called surplus funds. And I know everything about real estate, right? And he's like, oh, basically you can make money by giving money away after a foreclosure. And I'm like, no, you can't. Like, you cannot do that. You know, like, I know what's real, and I know this guy is not real, right? So I'm like raising my hand, asking him like these really intrusive questions, and he's just like, he knows the answer instantly to all these things. And it's like really kind of pissing me off because I'm like, this guy's like showing me up, you know, like who is this guy? Like, he's scamming people, you know? So fast forward, after he was done speaking, I went to Dave. I said, dude, this guy's a scammer. Why would you have him here? He's like, what do you mean? I said, well, this isn't real. Like, this is not real. There's no way that this is real. And Dave was like, no, this is absolutely real. I've done it before. And I was like, really? I was like, can you teach me how to do it? So David taught me how to do it, and the rest is history. You know, eventually we started doing surplus funds, had some success with it, obviously, and decided that, hey, you know, the reason why I didn't know about this was because I had learned everything I'd learned online, and no one's talking about this online yet, so that seems like a huge opportunity. And sure enough, it was. We've now helped 5,000 plus people start their very own business from home doing surplus funds, and all that means, by the way, is just making money by giving money away. And we have students that are literally making millions of dollars a year doing this. We have students that are making, you know, $5-6 a month extra doing this, and more or less everything in between. So if that sounds like it's interesting to you, I'll put a link down below this video where you can check out a free 20-minute training that we put together, where I go in depth of exactly what surplus funds are, why this one secret niche like really blew up and made us a lot of money, and why we were able to help a lot of people while we did it, and our proprietary method for doing it with ease, right? Which super, super simple. Literally, you don't have to sell anything. You're just giving away money. Like, you have to start a business. You don't have to find a product. You don't have to do anything. You don't have to hire anyone. Just give away money. That's it. So if that sounds interesting to you, click that link down below. Of course, subscribe, hit that notification bell, and I will see you on the next video.